Thyroid gland. We all know that thyroid is the largest gland of our body. The word thyroid comes from the Greek word thyros, which means it's like a shield, which was commonly used during the ancient Greek type, and hence the shape of the thyroid gland is just like a shield, and hence the name comes the thyroid. This thyroid gland secretes the following hormones, that is triiodothyronine T3, tetraiodothyronine T4, which is also known as thyroxine, and lastly it secretes a hormone called calcitonin. So these are the hormones which are secreted by the thyroid gland, that is T3, T4 and calcitonin. Thyroid gland subserves the following function. These are the functions of the thyroid gland, that is, firstly it will regulate the basal metabolic rate, then it will stimulate the psychosomatic growth of our body, as well as it also plays a very important role in the calcium metabolism. So these are the three important functions of the thyroid gland, that it will regulate the basic metabolic rate, it will stimulate the psychosomatic growth of our body, and plays an important role in calcium metabolism. Now after the function, before discussing about the location of the thyroid gland, I want to discuss about some important features of the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is the only endocrine gland in our body which is present superficially, and hence it is accessible for the physical examination. So this is a very important feature of the thyroid gland, that it is present superficially in a body and hence accessible for the physical examination. The second point is that it is the only endocrine gland which required the external environment for the raw material, that is what it requires iodine for the synthesis of its hormone. So this is the only gland which required the iodine, that is the raw material from the environment for the production of its hormone. The third important point is that the thyroid gland is the only gland which doesn't pour its hormone directly into the blood after its formation, but it will reserve it, and it will release the hormone as and when required, and not just after its production it directly pour it into the blood. And lastly, it is a highly vascular organ. Its blood supply is very much large. It is a highly vascular organ. Now after these important features of the thyroid gland, we will discuss about the location of the thyroid gland, that where the thyroid gland is located in our body. The thyroid gland is located in the lower part of the front and the side of the neck. In this image you can see this is the thyroid gland. It is present in the lower part of the front and the side of the neck, and it is present opposite to the 5th, 6th, 7th cervical as well as the 1st thoracic vertebrae. So this thyroid gland is present in the lower part of the neck, on the front as well as on the side, opposite C5, C6, C7 and T1 vertebrae, clasping the upper part of the trachea. You know that you can see that in this image these are the tracheal rings, and hence the thyroid gland clasps the upper part of the trachea. So this is the basic location of the thyroid gland. Now we will move to the parts and the features of the thyroid gland. In this image you can see this is the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is an H-shaped gland. In the image you are seeing it that it is an H-shaped gland, and it consists of two right and left vertical lateral lobes. These are present vertically, and these are the two lateral lobes, the right one and the left one, and the these two lateral lobes are connected to each other by a horizontal lying isthmus. So this part which is connecting the two lateral lobe in the midline is called the isthmus, which is present horizontally. So this is one lateral lobe, this is the another lateral lobe, and in between the two, this horizontal part which is in the midline is called the isthmus. Sometimes there is an extra lobe present, and that lobe is known as a pyramidal lobe. This pyramidal lobe is a small lobe, and it is present sometime. So sometimes a small pyramidal lobe is also present which project upward from the isthmus. So in this image you can see this is the isthmus, and from the upper part of the isthmus a small pyramidal lobe extend upward, and this is the pyramidal lobe. This pyramidal lobe is attached to the hyoid bone. In the neck there is a bone called hyoid bone, and this pyramidal lobe is attached to the hyoid bone by a fibromuscular band. You can see this is the fibromuscular band, and this fibromuscular band is known as levator glanduli thyroidi. You can see this is levator glanduli thyroidi. So basically a thyroid gland consists of two lateral lobes and a connecting isthmus which is horizontal, and sometimes a small pyramidal lobe which projects upward from the isthmus, and this pyramidal lobe is usually present to the left of the midline. So in this image this is the midline. So this pyramidal lobe is present mostly to the left of the midline. This is the midline and is present usually onto the left side, and this pyramidal lobe is attached to the body of the hyoid bone by a fibromuscular band which is known as levator glanduli thyroidi. Now we will discuss about the dimension of the thyroid gland. Basically the thyroid gland, the weight of the thyroid gland is about 25 gram, which is more than this in case of females as well as in lactating and menstruation female. So it is more, it has a larger weight than the other in these cases, that in the females which has lactating or during the time of menstruation. Now we can discuss about the dimensions. Then this lateral lobe, it is about 5 centimeter. The length of the lateral lobe is 5 centimeter. Its breadth is 3 centimeter, and the thickness of the lateral lobe is about 2 centimeter. So then the dimension is 5 into 3 into 2. That is, length is 5 centimeter, the breadth is 3 centimeter, and the thickness is 2 centimeter. Whereas the dimension of the isthmus is 1.25 in either. That is, the vertical as well as the transverse length of the isthmus is 1.25 centimeter each. Now about the lateral lobe. The lateral lobe is in the shape of the conical or the pyramidal shape. So in the image you can see that this is the lateral lobe and it is pyramidal or conical in shape, and this pyramidal lobe, it extends from the oblique line of the thyroid cartilage. So this is the thyroid cartilage. So it extends upward up to the oblique line of the thyroid cartilage, and below it extends up to the 5th or the 6th tracheal ring. So in the image this is the 5th tracheal ring and this is the 6th. So the extent of the lateral lobe is from the oblique line of the thyroid gland upward to the 5th or the 6th tracheal ring below. Whereas this isthmus is present opposite to the 2nd, 3rd and 4th tracheal ring. So this isthmus is present against the 2nd, 3rd and the 4th tracheal ring. So this is about the extension of the lateral lobe as well as the isthmus. As I have told you earlier that the isthmus is in the shape of pyramid or a conical in shape. That's why it has an apex. So this is the apex of the lateral lobe. This is the base of the lateral lobe. It has got 3 surfaces. So this surface is the lateral surface which is directed laterally. The one which is medially is the medial surface, and one which is posteriorly present, that surface is known as posterolateral surface, which is directed both laterally as well as posteriorly. So thus, and yet it has got 2 borders. One is this is the interior border which is present between the lateral surface and the medial surface, and the another one is present backside, that is the posterior border which is present between the medial surface and the posterolateral surface, which means there is no demarcated border between the lateral surface and the posterolateral surface. So thus this lateral lobe has an apex, a base, 3 surfaces, that is the lateral surface, the medial surface, and one which is present posteriorly, that is the posterolateral surface, and it has got two borders, the anterior border and the posterior border. Whereas isthmus consists of two borders and two surfaces. The one which is present anterior is the anterior surface, and the one which is present its back side, that is the posterior surface. So that's why isthmus has got two surfaces, an anterior surface and a posterior surface, and it has got two border, an upper border and a lower border. So this isthmus has got two border, upper border and lower border, and an anterior and a posterior surface. Now we will discuss about the relations. First, about the apex. This apex, I have told you earlier that the apex extends up to the oblique line of the thyroid cartilage. So this is the oblique line present on the thyroid cartilage. This apex extends up to the oblique line of thyroid cartilage, and it is demarcated, and it is demarcated here by the attachment of a muscle. That muscle is known as sternothyroid muscle. Because of this muscle, it doesn't move upward. So this apex, it is demarcated above by the muscle called sternothyroid muscle. In this image you can also see that this is the sternothyroid muscle, and this apex is not extended above due to the attachment of this sternothyroid muscle on this oblique line. This apex, the direction of the apex is upward and laterally. It is directed upward and laterally, and the apex of the thyroid gland, it has been sandwiched in between the two muscles, that is the sternothyroid muscle laterally and the inferior constrictor muscle medially. So thus the apex is sandwiched between the two muscles, that is this muscle, inferior constrictor muscle medially, and the sternothyroid muscle laterally, and the apex is related with the superior thyroid artery and a nerve, that is the external laryngeal nerve. So this is all about the relation of the apex. Now we will see the base. In this image you can see that this is the base, and this base is in relation with the fifth or the sixth tracheal ring. It is in relation with fifth or the sixth tracheal ring, and it has relation with an artery called the inferior thyroid artery and a nerve called the recurrent laryngeal nerve. So thus the base, I have told you earlier that the apex is related with two structures, that is the superior thyroid artery and the external laryngeal nerve. Meanwhile, the base is related with the inferior thyroid artery and the recurrent laryngeal nerve. So this is all about the apex and the base, and now we will deal about the surfaces. First, the medial surface, the surface which is present in the inner aspect, that is medially, is called the medial surface, that is opposite to it on the inner aspect. So that is the medial surface, and this medial surface, it is related with two muscles. One is the inferior constrictor muscle and the another one is the cricothyroid muscle. So this medial surface, it is related with two muscles, that is the inferior constrictor muscle and the cricothyroid muscle. It is related with the two cartilage, that is the thyroid cartilage and the cricoid cartilage, as well as it is also related with the two tube. One is called the trachea and the another one is the esophagus. That's why you have to remember that the medial surface is related with the relation of 2 that is two muscle, inferior constriction and cricothyroid, two cartilage, thyroid and cricoid cartilage, and two tubes, that is trachea and esophagus. So this is all the relation about the medial surface. In the next image we can see the relations on the lateral surface. So basically this is the thyroid gland and this is the lateral surface of the thyroid gland. In this image you can see all the surface all together, that this surface is the lateral surface, this is the medial surface, and this which is present posteriorly and laterally, that is the posterolateral surface, which is seen by the dotted line. So these are the three surfaces. This lateral surface, it is related with the strap muscles of the neck, that is with the sternothyroid muscle, sternohyoid muscle and the superior belly of omohyoid. So these three strap muscles are related with this convex lateral surface, that is the sternothyroid, sternohyoid and superior belly of omohyoid. and in front of all these muscles there is presence of another muscle, that is sternocleidomastoid muscle, which crosses all these muscles, and the anterior border of this muscle is related here. So basically this lateral surface is related to the muscles, that is sternothyroid, sternovoid, superior belly of omoid, and the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Now we will discuss about the posterolateral surface. So this is the posterolateral surface, and this posterolateral surface, it is related with the carotid sheath. So this green circle is the image shown of the carotid sheath. So this is the carotid sheath with its content. So what are the content of the carotid sheath? The carotid sheath consists of three structures, that is the common carotid artery, internal jugular vein, and the vagus nerve in between the two. So this is all about the posterior relation. And now thank you.